and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. People want me to review a lot of comics, from recommendations to just stuff that gets donated to me that people think will make a good review. And a lot of the time, I'm happy to do them because, well, they do deserve to get reviewed. However, there are also comics that people want me to review that for one reason or another I don't want to. These can be ones heavily requested or just one or two people asking for, and I don't want to do them just because I don't think they're bad. And, well, with the occasional exception, this is a show about the bad stuff. Now, it's entirely possible that somewhere down the road I may change my mind and decide to review them, but for the moment, this is me putting my foot down. But what are these comics that I don't want to review? Well, that's why we're here today. This is the top 15 comics I'll never review.
Think never is enough, yeah, never is enough. I never want to do that stuff. I think never is enough, yeah, never is enough. You never have to do that stuff.
Number 15, The Punisher meets Archie. Yeah, this isn't a joke. There's actually a comic featuring Archie and the Punisher. Obviously, this is a match made in heaven, right? A comic that features corny jokes, fairly family-friendly content, and that somehow has endured for 60 years, and a character whose entire motif is killing people. Why am I not going to review it? Well, pretty straightforward, actually. It's not that bad. Yeah, I was as surprised as anyone else, but it honestly doesn't have a lot to make fun of beyond the ridiculously bizarre concept. The Punisher learns of a gangster traveling to Riverdale who just happens to be a dead ringer for Archie. Okay, actually saying it out loud, it sounds really stupid and contrived, but still. Hijinks ensue, and there's a real feeling that the whole thing is done tongue-in-cheek. Comic creators don't live heavily sheltered lives away from all public contact, you know. They knew full well going into this that it was silly and stupid. The Punisher meets Archie. At least it doesn't have a giant talking cowhead spitting out the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Think never is enough, yeah, never is enough. I never want to do that stuff.
Number 14, Marvel Zombies. I've talked about the Ultimate Universe that Marvel produces. Marvel tends to keep the Ultimate Universe and the mainstream Marvel universes pretty separate. To date, I'm not aware of any actual crossover between the two. However, a few years ago it was teased in the pages of Ultimate Fantastic Four that there was going to be one. Ultimate Reed Richards was contacted by the Reed Richards of another universe, supposedly the one of the main Marvel universe. He's told that an interdimensional crisis is occurring, and that the intellects of several Reed Richards need to be brought together to deal with it. Ultimate Reed Richards constructs an interdimensional transporter and travels to what he thinks is going to be a similar Earth to his own. And instead enters hell. A zombie plague has infected this universe and it's entered full apocalypse mode. The remaining superheroes are all infected, all still intelligent, but have devoured most of the Earth's population. However, with no more food left on their own, they hatched a plan so they could travel to the Ultimate Universe and infect that as well. As the tagline reads of the eventual miniseries spinning off from the story, this is not a world of Marvel heroes. This is a world of Marvel zombies. The term Marvel Zombies used to refer to fans dedicated strictly to buying Marvel comics, and they decided to use it in what's supposed to be kind of dark humor. It's by no stretch a happy story. It's pretty damn disturbing at times, too. But I do get a chuckle out of some of the darker humor. Let me make this clear. This is an alternate universe, very much like JLA Act of God. Unlike that story, however, the reason why they're acting out of character is actually given a reason, and a believable one. Hell, it even spawned off an excellent crossover in the form of Marvel Zombies vs. Army of Darkness, wherein our beloved pal Ash from the Evil Dead movies is forced to do battle with the zombie superheroes.
Groovy.
And really, is there anything more awesome than seeing Bruce Campbell taking out zombie superheroes? Well, okay, yes, but it's hard to top Robo-Bear versus Cyber Gorilla.
Think never is enough, yeah, never is enough. I never wanna do that stuff.
Number 13, Batman number 66. This one isn't one that's heavily requested, but one that I just have to shake my head at. Why? Because the reason why people want me to review it is because the word boner is in it. Repeatedly. Yes, people, the Silver Age was a time where the word boner meant something different than it does now. Really, it just comes off like people want me to say the word boner. So if that's the case, I shall give you what you want. Boner. Boner, boner. Boner, boning of boner. Boner, boner. Erect penis. And yeah, the issue itself is goofy, but of course it's goofy. It's the Silver Age. You couldn't have a story about grocery shopping without it involving 3 aliens and a rainbow-colored version of the hero's costume, but the word itself isn't enough for a review. Batman number 66. The boner one. Boner.
Think never is enough, yeah, never is enough. I never wanna do that stuff.
Number 12. Next Wave, Agents of Hate. This one just confuses the heck out of me why anyone would want me to review this. I review bad comics. Next Wave is pure, unadulterated fun and everything glorious about superhero comics. Next Wave, better than every other comic out there ever. Next Wave is the fast-paced story of a group of superheroes and ex-superheroes who were hired to supposedly fight terrorists, but have discovered that their employers are funded by terrorists. What follows are 12 issues of high-concept ideas thrown in one after another. Dinosaurs, cloned broccoli henchmen, and Aaron Stack, the Machine Man. Next Wave, more robots and beer than the nerdiest frat party. Next Wave will never be on atop the fourth wall because it is freaking awesome, and that's all it ever needs to be. Why aren't you buying it right now? Next Wave, suck it, literary criticism.
Think never is enough, yeah, never is enough. I never wanna do that stuff.
Number 11, Who Wants to Be a Superhero? For those who have never heard of it, Who Wants to Be a Superhero was a reality show developed by Stan Lee and the Sci-Fi Channel before they decided that poor literacy is cool and that women prefer the letter Y to C and I. The premise was that people auditioned as a superhero they had invented, and they'd get together to demonstrate that they had the character necessary to be a hero. The ultimate prize would be to appear in a one-shot comic produced by Dark Horse and an appearance in a Sci-Fi Channel original movie. Yes, the prize itself was complete and utter garbage, but hey, people will do a lot to earn the respect of someone like Stan Lee. And I understand why people want me to review them, but to be perfectly honest, I watched Who Wants to Be a Superhero when it was first aired, both seasons. Season 1 was better, and I loved it. Yeah, stupid stuff certainly happened, but it's the only reality show I can ever say that I ever liked, and it was about trying to be a good person. The comics are bad, I'll freely admit, but not that bad. Seeing them brings a smile to my face from when I tune in on Thursday nights and enjoy what was otherwise a pretty damn enjoyable show. The Sci-Fi Channel original movies they featured in, though, can promptly be tossed in the garbage for rats to use as a toilet. Who Wants to Be a Superhero? Reminding us to
be a winner, not a wiener.
Think never is enough, yeah, never is enough. I never wanna do that stuff.
Number 10, Lost Girls. Everyone knows that I think Alan Moore is awesome. Not only is he responsible for one of the pioneering works of superhero fiction, but he's also the creator and former longtime writer of Tom Strong, a series I've only recently gotten into, but it's the benchmark of truly enjoyable superhero comics. Seriously, go out and buy it right now. You will not be disappointed. However, one of his works is a bit more controversial. Lost Girls. The premise is that older versions of Wendy from Peter Pan, Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, and Alice from Alice in Wonderland meet in a resort and tell stories about their sexual misadventures when they were teenagers. Alan Moore's wife, Melinda Gebbie, was the artist on it. Now, there's a very specific reason why people want me to review this, and it's the exact same reason why I'm not going to review it. It's pornography. I'm not exaggerating here. Moore and Gebbie have openly declared that it's porn, and that was part of the point of it. That they wanted to make better porn, more artistic porn. That the genre is lacking in works and is underrepresented, and they wanted to elevate it past, well, what porn is. One could wonder why they chose underage porn to do that. And no, I frankly don't care what the age of consent laws are in different states or different countries. It's still squicky. But yeah, I don't want to review Lost Girls because it's porn and I don't review porn. Oh, and because it's freaking expensive. It's $95 from Amazon.com for a brand new copy, and I recall it being similarly priced at Barnes & Noble, and that's before taxes and shipping. I'm not paying $100 for porn. I've got the internet, dang it. Lost Girls. It's porn. Knowing the creative team, it's probably well-written, beautifully drawn porn, but still porn.
Think never is enough, yeah, never is enough. I never want to do that stuff.
Number 9. Tarot, Witch of the Black Rose. Same reason for this one. It's friggin' porn. But unlike Alan Moore, who at least has a track record behind him that could make us believe that he could elevate porn into something more than wanking material, we conversely have the art and writing of Jim Ballant, probably best known, at least to me anyways, as being the guy who drew Catwoman with massive boobs. Tarot is a messed up, weird little series, and I don't even know where to start with this. Okay, there's a busty witch named Tarot and her boyfriend named Skeleton Man, and they apparently fight supernatural crime while frequently getting naked. And no, I do not know or understand anything about this series, really, and quite honestly, I hope I never do. Any and all information about the series that I have comes strictly from the Invincible Superblog and its recounting of it. Which brings people to a specific issue they want me to review. Yes, yet again, it's simply a matter of people wanting me to repeat a phrase that was in the comic, specifically issue number 53, because it achieved semi-internet meme status. And now, for your auditory pleasure, here is that line of dialogue. Samantha Brown, you have to get out of here! Your vagina is haunted! Nope, I'm not gonna say it again. I think that first time summed it up nicely. And no, I won't give context either. It's not like it'd help any. Look it up yourselves. Tarot, Witch of the Black Rose. Haunted vaginas and ginormous boobs.
Think never is enough, yeah, never is enough. I never want to do that stuff.
Number 8. Maximum Carnage. This one really comes down to a difference of opinion. A lot of people have requested this one, but I refuse wholeheartedly. Mostly because I like Maximum Carnage. Most of you should be at least partially familiar with Venom, one of Spider-Man's deadliest enemies. Venom is an alien symbiote that forms a costume around someone. However, once upon a time, Venom spawned another symbiote costume that bonded with a psychopathic killer named Cletus Cassidy. Together, they became Carnage, and it was only thanks to Venom and Spider-Man joining forces that Carnage was defeated. However, Carnage returned, having permanently bonded with the symbiote, and in an event called Maximum Carnage, joined up with a bunch of other supervillains to cause general mayhem, death, and destruction. In turn, Spider-Man joined up with Venom and a couple of B-list and A-list superheroes to stop Carnage's reign of terror. And frankly, I like the story. I honestly don't understand the hate that gets thrown at this one. Because it's too long? 14 issues, I can see that. But honestly, it's actually a pretty breezy read for me. It never feels like it's dragging. Because it's overly violent? True, but unlike Countdown, that was part of the point of the story. Violent, anti-hero brand, grim and gritty, kill the enemy style heroics were bad and didn't work. Also, unlike Countdown, nobody dies. Well, okay, civilians die, but no main or secondary characters die, which already puts it leagues above half of the big events I could list. The plot makes no sense. Were we reading the same book? Carnage is on the loose with a posse of psychos, heroes run around trying to stop them. Because there are D-list characters making up the good guys and bad guys? Well, yeah, but that worked out fine in 52. Sure, they're not as well developed in Maximum Carnage as in that masterpiece, but this is Spider-Man's story we're talking about. It's too preachy? Not really, especially when we see that there are valid arguments presented on both sides of the fence. Because there are incredibly silly plot elements, like the happy gun at the end? True, but we're talking about a book that features a guy who was bitten by a radioactive spider joining forces with an alien symbiote costume to fight off another alien symbiote costume through the use of sonic weapons and a superheroine who can shoot fire out of her hands. This is the kind of silliness that superhero comics exist for. So, no, I'm not reviewing it. You're free to have your own opinion, but in mine, Maximum Carnage doesn't suck.
Think never is enough, yeah, never is enough. I never want to do that stuff.
Number 7, Marvel vs. DC. This is yet again a story that I don't understand why people would want me to review it. It's best not to take this story very seriously. Of course, the most hardcore fanboys will debate about whose stable of superheroes could beat who, but in the mid-90s, DC and Marvel got together and decided, okay, let's finally do what fans have always wanted us to do, duke it out. And thus came DC vs. Marvel, or Marvel vs. DC. Both titles were used. The plot is that two godlike entities, both representing the opposing universes, have finally become aware of each other and are jealous of the other's existence, so they decide that since any open battle between them would be disastrous, they'll use representatives from their respective universes to determine whose world lives and whose dies. The winners were determined by fan vote, and ultimately Marvel won through, but because obviously we can't destroy the other universe, the two companies briefly merged together and released a brief line of one-shots under the logo of Amalgam Comics, featuring merged versions of characters, like Dark Claw, a merging of Wolverine and Batman, or Super Soldier, a mixing of Superman and Captain America. Ultimately, the universes are separated and the entities make peace, simply telling the other, "You've done well." Yes, it's incredibly silly and cheesy, but I rather like it, and I don't get what it is that's got people wanting me to tear it a new one. Okay, the Amalgam comics ranged from silly to enjoyable to downright stupid, but I've seen a lot worse out there, and there's something to be said about camaraderie between the two competing companies that I don't really see happening these days. Marvel vs. DC, or DC vs. Marvel. Either way, they both won.
Think never is enough, yeah, never is enough. I never want to do that stuff.
Number 6, Manga. Okay, yes, I know that in my introduction video that I said that if I ever found a manga that was bad enough I would review it, but my opinion has changed since then. While I have read many manga, personal favorites being Steam Detectives and Pet Shop of Horrors, I am really not qualified to critique them. Yes, they are sequential art, but they're sequential art from a culture with different standards and ideas than the ones I'm used to and have studied. The storytelling tools and methods of conveying any number of ideas are different, and frankly, I'm not into manga enough to be the one to rip them to shreds. Besides, manga is Y Ruler of Time's department these days. As such, please stop requesting this one. It isn't going to happen unless I do a crossover. And yes, I know about the X-Men manga or the Marvel Mangaverse or the like. Honestly, I've seen a whole bunch of them, and most of them are either not that bad or just different and weird. Manga, I just don't know. Also, when is Steam Detectives Volume 9 coming out? Answer me, damn it!
Think never is enough, yeah, never is enough. I never want to do that stuff.
Number 5, political satire comics. Remember back in my Athena review when I talked about the strange trend in 2008 and 2009 for President Obama to appear in about 36 comic books that had nothing to do with him? Well, here's one that's more of a direct parody. Barack the Barbarian. Oh, actually, it's apparently played entirely straight, just with modern American political figures filling in other roles. It is absolutely stupid, and I'm not reviewing it. I refuse to read this junk. Fine, it's a parody, whatever. Oh, but it's not a parody. Barack Obama collects Conan and Spider-Man comics, so let's make him the star of the freaking book, except it's a sword and sorcery. Gah! Look, just do the stupid parody and leave it be. This is a dumb idea as it is, along the same veins as any comic about an actual person and turning them into something they're not. It only works if it's a parody. Otherwise, it's just goofy and not worth my time. If I want straight epic fantasy, why the hell should I read one with the president? Fantasy and science fiction are escapist literature, meant to take us away from the real world. Don't pull this kind of crap with people who are still alive. It's just embarrassing. Now, you do it with someone who's been dead for 150 years, now you've got something. Like Abe Lincoln, Vampire Hunter. I've never actually read the book, and yet the title itself is all I ever need to say. That's the most awesome thing I've heard since Next Wave. Next Wave contains vampire-slaying Abraham Lincoln robot clones. Of course they're bad, they're propaganda. But I get enough flack whenever I make the occasional political joke. So what the heck am I supposed to do when the entire comic is a big political joke? Political satire comics. I don't want to see President Obama fighting zombies or John McCain riding a T-Rex. I do want to see Teddy Roosevelt doing that, though.
Think never is enough, yeah, never is enough. I never want to do that stuff.
Number 4. Motion comics, movies, and cartoons. Guys, the show is about comic books. I specialize in comic books. To be perfectly honest, I rarely take that much interest in upcoming superhero movies or TV shows. Will I go see them and try to enjoy myself? Oh, hell yeah. Most of the time. But they're not my thing. I follow the ongoing stories that are occurring, not Hollywood's distilled versions. Yes, they can be entertaining. The Iron Man movies have been great, as have been Christopher Nolan-helmed Batman movies. I am not, however, waiting impatiently for the Wonder Woman movie, or even the upcoming Avengers movie. Will I go see them? Oh, hell yeah. And you'll see me tweet about them, or make jokes about them. But beyond that, I just don't care that much. You may have noticed that the only times I really get upset about the movies are when they're bad or when they arbitrarily change things from the source material. Like the dumb changes to League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, or the minor things in Watchmen, or the pointless additions and subtractions in V for Vendetta. Huh. Come to think of it, Alan Moore keeps getting punched in the gut by Hollywood. I'd hate to think what had happened if they tried to adapt Lost Girls. And when I was younger, I watched a ton of superhero cartoons, like the 90s Spider-Man and X-Men series, or Bruce Timm's animated DC Universe, which in many ways I will admit is superior to its comic book counterpart. But these days, I don't really watch a lot of TV. It's nothing against what's out there, it's just, I don't care. I don't care about some new iteration of Spider-Man, or who will be the next character on Brave and the Bold. For the record, I've seen the episodes featuring the Blue Beetle, and they are awesome. If I'm going to review these things, I want to save them for something really special, like a crossover with one of those other people I apparently share a website with. And then there's motion comics. I really do not care about motion comics. At all. Okay, to be fair, a motion comic is basically the equivalent of a book on tape but with limited animation, but I just don't see the point. I can see the benefits of it, certainly, but I've got to say, I did not look at Watchmen and then say to myself, you know what this is missing? Dr. Manhattan's arm moving a little. But yeah, I just don't care about motion comics. I care about comics. Not to say I wouldn't eventually review one of them, but right now I'm content with sequential art without someone talking over it.
Think never is enough, yeah, never is enough. I never want to do that stuff.
Number 3. Webcomics. No, I will not review webcomics. Ever. This isn't one I'm going to turn around on either. The only way you could get around this is if the comic I'm reviewing was originally a webcomic, but then was released in printed form. But the thing is, most printed webcomics are gag-a-day strips in collected form. I've got a few of them too, like Short Packed and Penny Arcade. But why the hell would I review either of those? They don't suck! But wait, the internet cried back. Let me tell you about the horror that is called Sonichu. Yes, people, I have heard of Sonichu. I really wish I hadn't heard of Sonichu. I would be a much happier man if I hadn't. Sonichu is some bizarre webcomic apparently put out by a guy named Christian Weston Chandler, or Chris Chan for short, that is some freakish hybrid of Sonic and Pikachu. The guy is a creepy stalker who apparently also suffers from autism and severe emotional problems, and even then I can't be certain of any factual authenticity about that. I don't want to review this crap because I don't want to give it any attention. I want this guy and his weird self-insertion fanfic / fan art to go into some dark corner of the internet and just let it disappear. Conversely, the average webcomic is fine, either good or bad. I read a couple, like the ones I mentioned before, as well as Wonderella, Schlock Mercenary, Comic Critics, and Multiplex. Now, many have tried to make their webcomics into their jobs with varying success. However, the majority of webcomic producers do it as a hobby. And frankly, the reason why I don't want to review webcomics overall is because I'm not going to make fun of someone for doing something that they do for their own enjoyment, no matter how bad or unfunny it might be. Professional comics are a product that I have to purchase, and I expect quality from them. Plus, hey, I've got my own webcomic with some rather embarrassingly bad first storylines, so I know things take time to improve. Webcomics, labor of love, or just a creepy cry for help.
Think never is enough, yeah, never is enough. I never want to do that stuff.
Number 2, One More Day. Okay, everybody saw this one coming from a mile away. The answer, since so many people have been requesting it and asking about it, is no. No, I will not review One More Day. I don't even get why people have been asking. I've made it clear from the start what my problem with this book is. I had no significant complaints until one major thing. Spider-Man makes a deal with the devil. And no, Joe Quesada, you cannot say he isn't the devil. He's red. He has horns. He has frickin' goat feet, and he resides in hell and makes deals for souls. He's the devil. And even if he wasn't the devil, he'd still be a horrible evil force that you cannot trust to honor bargains. But if you people really want a review of this, allow me to explain to all of you just how on every conceivable level this idea makes no sense. 1. Why the hell does Mephisto want their marriage? He said it's because their love is so pure and wonderful and blah blah blah. So frickin' what? They'll die eventually and their souls will be in heaven. Souls are things that actually have some form of value to you for true torment. Which brings me to my next point. 2. Supposedly, this is going to torment them. He says that a small part of them will always remember that they used to be together, and it will tear away at them that they can never be together anymore. Well, if that's true, they do a fantastically good frickin' job of hiding it. 2 issues after this moronic deal, Spidey is macking on some girl at a rave, and later Mary Jane is seen with some other jackass. Compare that to the most recent season of Doctor Who. This woman, Amy Pond, loses the man she loves. Not just that he dies, but that he's completely erased from history and she can no longer consciously remember him. In the episodes that follow, she's silently weeping and crying, but she can't remember why.
You're crying.
That is how you show torment, you third-rate morons! They're not in torment! They're fine! Oh, well, Mary Jane remembers the deal, which brings me to my next point. 3. Why does Mary Jane remember the deal? This could have been explained away by whatever she whispered into Mephisto's ear so that Peter could quote-unquote have a chance at happiness. But 2 years later, we finally got our explanation for what she said. Would you like to know what she said? I know, Peter. He will never make this deal with you. Never, ever, unless I ask him to. But if I do, this is the end of it. You will leave him alone for the rest of his days. Where in that crap did you see, oh, and I want to remember the deal, but not him? Oh, and take a look at the writing of those sentences and see if you notice some flaws. Which brings me to point number 4. He's the devil! He's all about finding loopholes in deals you make with him. You cannot trust him because he's the devil. You will leave him alone for the rest of his days. Well, how nice, Mary Jane, but notice how you didn't protect your own ass in that statement? Or of his other friends and loved ones? Mephisto is free to screw with them as much as he wants, and then, by extension, torment Peter! Or, even better, if you want to interpret the words on a literal level, leave him alone means that he will never be in a happy, prosperous relationship again! Which, come to think of it, is exactly what Joe Quesada wants, because he's a moron who thinks that married people can't make for good drama, because that is what a hack thinks! Point the fifth. Where exactly in this deal does it stipulate, I want his secret identity wiped from the minds of everyone in the Marvel Universe and all images of his unmasking erased? Why would the devil go the extra mile in a deal that's already technically screwing him over with the whole you can't touch him anymore nonsense? Oh, and of course that leads to my final point that pretty much shows that this whole retcon makes absolutely no freaking sense. 6. How can Mephisto do all this? Yes, he's the devil, but if he possesses the awesome and immense power to reshape and alter reality like he can here, why has he never done this until now? It's not like he never appeared before this story. He could have done this at any time to alter circumstances to his favor. You're telling me that he can do this, but he waits for a dumbass little deal like this before he does? Oh, and because I need to encourage some good comic reading, check out The Flash number 127 through 129, wherein one more day is done with The Flash, except well written, exciting, and makes a hell of a lot more sense in terms of character actions and the ultimate resolution. There! There's your review! Are you happy now? I hate this comic! I hate everything about this comic! I never want to see it ever again! I don't want to remember that it exists! Joe Quesada, you are a hack!
Think never is enough, yeah, never is enough. I never want to do that stuff.
And the number one comic I will not review, Sonic Comics. Let me make this as clear as humanly possible. I do not care about Sonic. Do you want to know what Sonic the Hedgehog is to me? This is Sonic to me. A video game from my childhood with some pretty damn good sequels on a console that I had when I was a little kid. No, I did not watch Sonic Sat AM, nor do I wish to. Sonic comics are the things that people request of me the most, and nobody has given me a damn good reason why the hell I should bother with these things. They give me recommendations for arcs to review. They don't tell me why they suck beyond maybe a little crappy artwork and some continuity issues. Is there some bizarre PSA message? Are characters forced to do a porno? Do Amazons attack? No, it's bad art and continuity issues. Hate to break it to you people, but I don't read them, so why the heck should I care if Knuckles isn't acting in character? Dear Lord, on the comments section for a review from like a year ago, 2 posters got into an argument about the comics, and I had no idea what the hell they were talking about. I just approved the comments and threw up my hands. I haven't played any of the recent games. I haven't watched any Sonic show. Okay, I saw bits of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog at like 7 a.m. sometimes, but that was it. I don't know who any of these characters are, and I don't want to know. And that is final. I'm putting my foot down. I refuse to review any Sonic comics. What are you gonna do about it, huh?
Linkara!
What the hell?
I am the embodiment of the internet and your fandom.
What do you want with me?
Linkara, we are displeased. You have angered us with your words. You will submit to our demands or we will stop watching you.
What? But it's my show.
If you wish to appease us, you must review Sonichu.
No!
Okay then. I guess you're just gonna review a Sonic comic.
Oh, okay. Wait, what?
Re-rate the review!
Well, tune in next week, I guess, when I review a Sonic comic. Oh, and it's also going to be the 100th episode.
But the only question with me now is, do I creep you out?
go every night and hang. Oh, gonna carve your name in my leg, in my leg. Oh, something I should ask about. Can I sniff the pit stains on your blouse? And do I creep you? Do I creep you out?
Your restraining order's out. Still the only question with me now.
This emphasis on boners has given me an idea for a new adventure in crime. Gotham City will rue the day it mentioned the word boner.